Come with me today and we're going to be replacing the clutch in a Toyota Hilux. Such a beautiful day. I'm working outside on the outside ramp. First thing I'm going to do is get the bonnet open, battery disconnected, and we get the vehicle in the air. Now we've got the vehicle in the air, the first thing we're going to do is get yourself a little white marker pen or whatever colour you want. And literally we're just going to mark the flanges on the prop shafts so we know which way they're going round, and also with the front one as well. Now that we've got the bolts secure on the drive flanges on the prop shaft, what we need to do, get yourself a hammer and literally give them a good clout. Don't hammer the shaft, just round here will do, and that'll break the joint on it. Now we've got to repeat that process to the front prop shaft. Now that we've got both the prop shafts up, which are down there on the floor, we need to just work our way around the gearbox and remove all the wiring loom, and then we can make a start on removing this cross member. And there we go, that is a cross member now just dropped off the chassis. Now at this point I have realised that I haven't disconnected the gear lever from the gearbox. Anyway, not to worry, it's going to be perfectly fine just dangling there where we can drop the car down and get the gear stick out. Now we're in the vehicle. To remove the gear stick you need to remove the gear knob, the gear gaiter, and then once you remove that there's a little piece of carpet. You remove the carpet out of the way, the 410mm holding that tin plate on, pull the rubber boot out, make sure that both of the gear selectors are in neutral, and then you can undo the 4 bolts surrounding them and they'll just lift out lovely. Right, now we are back underneath the vehicle. We've got the cross member removed. Anyway, all we've got to do now is just literally make a start on removing all these bell housing bolts. And there we go, that is all the bell housing bolts removed now. As you can see, we've got that gearbox free from the engine. All we've got to do now is literally lift it down. And there we go, that is one gearbox removed, and it's a heavy old bloody lumparoonie. Anyway, let's get this clutch plate and pressure plate off the flywheel, literally with these 812mm. And there we go, that is a clutch plate and pressure plate out of the way. I don't know whether you can see, but on the flywheel side of it, we've got 2 dark rings on the inside and outside, and that is where of the flywheel. You're probably not going to be able to see on this video, but if you just literally rub your thumb by there, you've got quite a big step on the flywheel. So it's set me back a little bit. I'm either going to get this one refaced or get a new one from somewhere. So anyway, I can't really finish this video off now. I'll have to make a part 2 for it. I'm just going to move my tools from underneath there, drop the ramp down because we don't want it creeping. I've got a Jaguar in there at the minute which is having a little bit of diagnostic fault. I think there's a bit of a boost leak on it, but we'll have a little look anyway. But for now, let's get it sent. Right, let's get back to this Toyota Hilux with a clutch failure. As you can see, we've got a new clutch plate, pressure plate, flywheel, thrust bearing, and we've also got a clutch pilot bearing as well. Anyway, let's crack on. First things first, we're going to start removing with the pilot bearing, and how we've done it. Well, I haven't done it. One of my friends has Allbeck Engineering. He's come over, he wants his air conditioning done, so I said, Mark, do me a favour, get this bearing out. And he was like, yeah, sound. So we got a grease gun, packed it full of grease, and then just thrashed it out. Now all we've got to do is clean all this down and get this new bearing just tapped in. And there we go, just like that, the new bearing in. And I've also got the flywheel on. How we're going to lock it, Allen key through the bell housing bolt, and it'll lock on the ring gear, and we can get this torqued up to 178 newton meters. Now that's the flywheel done, let's jump round to the clutch. And as always, make sure that you fit on your input shaft in your gearbox. You don't want to put it in and it not fit. And also on the clutch plates there is a little marking where it says transmission side. Make sure you put it the right way around, otherwise you're not going to get a clutch pedal. Anyway, let's get it lined up. And there you go, that is a clutch plate and pressure plate on. I have torqued these up now to 19 newton meters, and then we're just going to put the thrust bearing in the gearbox. Right, let's move around to the gearbox side of it. Now the input shaft, literally just a little bit of red rubber grease around the shaft there, and then what we need to do is get, obviously before you put the grease on, get yourself some 3M Scotch pad and literally just clean that guide tube down where the thrust bearing slides on. And then all we can do is literally, it's hard to do this on the floor, you know, you can literally just click that thrust bearing in, like so. Now before we put the gearbox back in, we need to get it ready. Now on my last video I had quite a few people messaging me saying put the gear selectors back on and literally undo the little circlip holding the 2 shafts in. Well, there we go, thank you very much for your advice. That's probably going to save me a little bit of time, Rooney. Anyway, let's get this gearbox in. And there we go, that is one gearbox put back in. Now I didn't time lapse it because there was 2 blokes under here and it was a little bit of a fiddle getting in, but we've got it in. And that little template down there can be a little bit fiddly. Anyway, let's get it all boxed back up. You know what, I think before we put it back together, let's have a little bit of a rocket ollie. Beautiful. And there we go, that is the gearbox all belted back up securely to the bell housing. But before we put that cross member back on down there, we need to, well, basically what I've done, I've put the front prop on, just makes it a little bit easier and less fiddlier with the cross member on. All right, let's get it on. And there we have it, everything is now nicely lined up. All we've got to do now is literally drop the vehicle down and we can get all that gear stick and I put back together. I tell you what, it's hot today, bloody drained. And as you can tell by the beeping, I've connected the battery back up. We've got the gear sticks back into the gearbox. All we're going to do now is literally give it a big starter-rooney and see if we've got drive. Reverse. Absolutely perfect. Into first. Beautiful. And there we go. That is one clutch and flywheel replacement on a Toyota Hilux. I'm going to just tidy all my tools up now, take it down the road for a little bit of a test drive. And I hope we're all being hydrated in this heat because it's horrendous. Anyway, let's get it sim.